Hey everybody, it's Maddie Cummins. I am hanging out in bed today, so it's been a really exhausting day and just trying to get my feet back under me after being ill the last couple of days, but had some energy, so I thought come on and say hi and hanging out with my dog and my cat, and my son is in another room. So for you, those guys who don't know me, I'm Maddie Cummins, and I am the founder of and the owner of Cerebrations LLC, and the moderator and just the person that likes to hang out and talk to you guys in the Calming the Chaos Collective. So it's great to see you. We're talking about self this week, and I think self is a very interesting way to think about ourselves, and we all define self in a different way. And I think the important piece is saying, when we talk about ourselves, we talk about, self is really, it's a combination of our memories, of all those neurons that we talk about connect in neural pathways as we grow up. Our experiences, our stories, who we are as a family, who we are in the world, what we do for work. There is so much that becomes part of self. And I think that part of the problem comes in is often that definition is provided to us, and we have to figure that out along the way, I think especially as women. And that's always been a difficult thing, I think, to try to figure out, okay, I remember in my 20s, I had to stop and say, okay, who do people think I am and who am I really? And I think that's just really, really hard to do. And so this week, as we talk about self, I'm encouraging you guys to define who you are, not what other people say we are. To think about the characteristics that make up who you are. To think about how God defines us, because at the end of the day, it's really God that makes that defines us, and we find ourself in our connection to God. And that's why some of the phrases, the Bible verses I love are, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are a daughter of a king. We have armor that he has provided us to be strong. And those are the images that I really love to become a part of, and part of my memory and my sense of self. So if you guys come on and want to say hi, just say hi. I can't, for those of you that watch these lives, I can't see who's on. I just see these little eyeballs, but I'd love to say hi. And really just start to think about these part of self and how you want to define that and how you want to connect with that in God. Part of what I think is really challenging is our culture can define who we are, or try to define who we are. We are defined by how we grew up. We are defined by our job. We are defined by all of these things, and none of that is self. Self is really who we get to decide who we are, and how that connection then comes into how God wants us to define ourselves through him. So we're going to continue on this week talking about self, and really helping us begin this process of looking at who are we, and how does self really affect the anxiety? I can know in my bones one day who I am, and then the anxiety sets in and I start questioning all of that. And so I think that's why it's really important that we stop and define who we are, so that the anxiety doesn't begin to define us too. So we started a conversation in the post last night that came out around what does define you. And I'd like to just continue that conversation over the next couple of days as we begin this process of pulling out how we decide to define ourselves. That the self is what I decide, again, with my relationship with God. But I think I've said before, I spent a lot of years defining myself as a social worker. And what I've realized is that what makes me a good social worker is who I am, is myself, and how I define myself. I'm not a good person because I'm a good social worker. I'm a good social worker because I'm a good person. So I think just starting to kind of rethink about the positive qualities and the stuff that, none of us are perfect. And so there are things that I know are a part of me that I struggle with. One of those is pride. Pride is often my weakness, but it's through those weaknesses that we also, get to connecting with God, and it's through those weaknesses that we don't have to live in those when we define ourselves, but we're going to have stuff we're not perfect. And that's our bigger goal in this group, is always to remember that we're not perfect. So I'm just going to challenge you today in the comments, just to put in the comments about how you define yourself, how God helps you in that definition. What are some of the tough things that we have to think about when we're defining selves? And then we'll just continue that conversation. So I just so much appreciate you guys as always. I am especially loved that I can come on here and not be my perfect self, and that's okay. Not, as most of you know, I've not been feeling good this week. But I just love that that's okay, and I can come on here and be real and be who I am. So you guys have a great week. I will be back on Friday, I believe, at 3:00 again. And we will continue this conversation, okay? Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.